In this video, I'm going to show how to replace the backup lights and the rear fog lights in a Saab 9.3. And also, I'm going to show how to make both fog lights work. From the factory in North America and left-hand drive countries, only this fog light works. That fog light over there looks like it's burnt out. It's really not. It's just not connected. To access the backup lights and the fog lights, you need to take this cover off inside the trunk lid. And to do that, you'll need a T25 Torx bit and just a regular old flat blade screwdriver. To start off with, we're going to take off this little handle, and that's what you use the T25 Torx bit for. And the handle is just like unscrewing a couple screws. There's two screws up in there, and they come right out, and then the handle comes out. The next thing we need to do is remove all these little black tabs that are around the perimeter of that panel. And it's really easy. You just push this little thing in the middle in, and then wedge a screwdriver under there, and it'll pop right out. And these things are pretty cool, the way they work, and I'll show you how to reinstall them in a minute. But basically, you just push that thing back through. Well, I'll show you in a minute. And then once you've got all those things removed, all you do is just let this thing fall out of there, and it'll still be connected by this little the cable that goes to the emergency release from the inside. But you need to, well, mine came off. You don't need to worry about that. You can just let it hang because you don't need to get this out of the way to get the light bulbs out. The bulbs are really easy to replace. This is on the left side of the car. You just turn this thing a quarter turn and it pops right out. And the top one here, it's actually on the bottom with the trunk lid open, but the top one is for the brake or the backup lights, and the bottom one here, this is for your fog lights. Now, as I was saying, from the factory, the right fog light does not work. And I guess on right-hand drive cars from the factory, the left fog light doesn't work. But either one that's not working, it's the same procedure to fix it. What I've done, I've run a little wire here, in this case it's a red wire, from the left fog light over to the right fog light. And the way I identified the wire, coming out of the fog light itself, there's a pink wire. And that pink wire comes down through this little sleeve to this little connector. And the connector has three positions. And so you've got three wires on this side going into that connector. And so the pink wire on mine is the bottom connector, or the bottom wire. So the bottom wire coming out, that's my power to power this fog light. So what I did, I just used a little wire tap that you can buy at any auto parts store. I tapped into it. Doesn't even take any tools, you just clamp it on. Actually, it takes some pliers to clamp it down, but you clamp it on with the other wire in there, and it pierces the insulation and makes the connection. And then I ran this other red wire all the way over here, tied it with some zip ties. And on this connector, there's no wire coming out. On this connector, the pink is on the top. Let me zoom in here so you can see. So this wire harness coming out of the right fog light, it's got the pink wire in it, so there's a wire coming out of the fog light, and it comes down here to this connector, but there's no third wire. You've only got two wires coming in on this side. So I would have liked to have connected on the back side of that connector so that I can just disconnect it to disconnect everything. But what I had to do is just run the wire all the way to the other side of the connector here. And then I've got the wire tapped on there. So this wire tap just connects straight over to the wire tap on the other side. And we've got power coming to both lights now when the fog lights are turned on. And it was kind of weird because from the factory, there's actually a bulb installed in this. I don't know why there was a bulb if they didn't even run the wire, but they spent the 12 cents on the bulb but didn't spend the 8 cents on the wire. Now, as I was saying, these little things are pretty cool because the way they work, when you push it through so that the pin is all the way in, it allows it to release. And if it's pushed out so that it's protruding like that, it allows it to release. So all you got to do is take all these little connectors or these little tabs, whatever they are, and push all the buttons out so that they're sticking up like that. And then once they're sticking up like that, you can put the panel back in place, and then put these in and just push the little pin in until it's flush like that. And once it's flush, it'll make the piece stay in. So now when you put this thing back in, this little thing, the plastic bit, goes on top of the little cloth bit or the fiberboard bit. You want to make sure the fiberboard is underneath this plastic thing on the latch. And then all you do, you slide that under, you put one of these little things in, push the pin in, it'll hold it in place. You do another one, and two is enough to hold it in temporarily until you can get all the rest of them in. So have two in your hand when you do that. And now I just screw my little handle back in, and that's all there is to it. And since I'm missing one of those little black connectors, I'd leave the hole right there because it's right by the handle, and I figure that's supporting it.